All right, looks like we're live. What do we have? Monday, October 4th. Already got a couple people in here. Let's see. I lost my comments. There we go. All right. Looks like Noah's in here already. What's up? Good morning. Kenneth Wallace. Danny did it. Good morning. 6'8 Spindrift. What's up? All right. So we got another week. In terms of CLOV, really a rough one last week. I think we finished at about 747. Really been getting pressed down, but we kind of have some good stuff to look forward to. And I really think things are going to change here shortly, but we'll get into CLOV in a little bit. First thing I wanted to do was just review a little bit about the plays that I was going to be watching on Friday. And those are these three right here that are still set up. So PROG was one that it came up as a short squeeze a couple days prior. And if we take a look at the daily chart here, so it came up as a short squeeze on Thursday. And Friday it did rip all the way up to 220. Still kind of a long way to go there. I really like the numbers that I'm seeing in this one as a squeeze play. Let me see here. So right now, PROG it's PROG, ticker symbol. 60%. I'm looking at Ortex right now. 60% short interest, or estimated short interest, I should say. Looks like cost to borrow slowly increasing. It's at about 17 right now. It's got 99% utilization. Huge uptick in volume. 107 million here. Then 249 million here. I think it's still got a lot of room to move, especially considering that short interest is so high. It does have options expiring on October 15th. IV's through the roof. I'm not saying this because I think we should buy options. I just want to see what the option chain looks like on it. For a float the size of 103 million. If you look at why is all my stuff off this morning? There we go. If we look at the open interest on PROG, in relation to the float size, you already have the $1.50 and dollar strikes, well in the money. Stocks trading at $1.79, and there's a lot of open interest here on this option chain, especially at 2 and 250. They just added the 350 strike this morning, and the $5 strike is already pretty loaded up too. So again, I'm not recommending buying any options right now. IV is ridiculous, but even if we look out here at January, I think this play, and again, I'm bringing up the option chain just to see how much more fuel it would get, combined with the open interest that I'm looking at here on Ortex and everything else, utilization. I think PROG, has the potential to continue to keep running. I think this is like the early stages of its squeeze. Like it still has a bigger move to make, just by kind of looking at this, looking at the numbers and everything else. I kept it on the watch list as kind of the three stocks I was going to check out on Friday. I didn't jump in a trade here on anything. Looks like there was an opportunity maybe off the open, and then again kind of in here, but nothing big. Didn't really, wouldn't have really paid off too much. Maybe over here in Power Hour, Another nice move from $1.60 to about $1.83, which is about 10%. So, but that one didn't look too bad. The stock is closed at 179, currently trading at 173. But I still think that this is a stock that, based on what I'm seeing on Ortex, the option chain, everything else, has a lot of room to run. FAMI was the other one that I was going to look at on Friday, and really not much doing, at least not from my perspective, from like what, my kind of day trade signals and everything. I could see a couple opportunities where I would have got in, but not a lot of money to be made there. So that was the other one. And then ATER is the other play that, like I said, I still think has a lot of short squeeze potential. Just looking at the Ortex data, and I really like the setup. It kind of has everything, and we'll look at that in a second. So I had said I wanted to keep my eye on this. This one actually did provide a good move here, kind of early in the day. I missed out on this one, but I was able to jump back in when it busted through VWAP here around 740. And this was kind of like the only trade that I made throughout the day. It was from, I think, about like $11 is where I got in, and then I got stopped out at 11:30. So nothing major, but there was a couple opportunities in here, and I was able to jump on one of them. There's a more zoomed in version of it. But I want to check out the short interest on that one too, because the one reason I've been keeping it on my watch list, and I talked about this on Friday too, like there's so many short squeeze plays out there right now that have been moving recently. TMC, SDC, GREE, ATER, PROG was one that we added in, and they've just been moving so much that they really provide for, a lot of opportunities to enter and exit. So I've kind of been keeping them all on my watch list. But the reason that I really like ATER right now, it's still high, 42% short interest. Cost to borrow is already elevated. It has been for a long time. Utilization at 99. And it's been getting, let's see here. It's been moving. Volume's kind of been dying down since this big run up here, but this volume that we're seeing on it right now, 20 million, is still a lot bigger than, this is a stock that typically would trade around 500,000 on the day. So this is still a huge increase in volume. It still looks to be, up until I'd say about Wednesday, it was still kind of in an uptrend. That may have changed somewhere around here. If this thing continues to pop up, let's say today or tomorrow, and then eventually go test some new highs like this 20, get above there, there's a lot of room to run. Now, that being said, we've seen this with a lot of the other plays where it could just get pinned down and stay down. So, that's why I'm not holding, any ATER right now, but I am looking for, if all of a sudden this thing starts running, I'm going to jump in, even if I get a late entry, to see it make new highs. But I'm just going to kind of sit back and watch right now. Let's see here. Who else is in here now? We got your pal Al. Good morning, Zip Jester. Says at home and not in the office on a Monday for once. Right on. Must feel good. I got to go to work still today. Josh Stewart, what's up? Good morning. Pete, Skip. Let's see here. Michael, La Clova Nostra, what's up? Sly Dev, day late, dollar short. Noar's asking about CEI. So let's take a look at that. Because that kind of wraps up the plays that I was going to watch. I know we had some other plays on the scanner, but I had said I was going to watch these three. And I was kind of watching them throughout the day, but nothing major. But CEI, that's been kind of the big pump that's been going on. Started at 33 cents somewhere around August 19th, August 20th, hit a high of 485. And honestly, I know a lot of the people that are still, that kind of started this play or, brought everybody to this play are still kind of pumping this up and saying CEI to 10 and all this other stuff. And that could very well happen. But the interesting thing here is that they added options today. This previously didn't have options. If we zoom out, it is at the high already, of the year. If you go way further back, and this is due to stock splits and everything else, you could see CEI is kind of a blip where it's trading at now. As at one point, 8,200 a share. Now, this is that's not what it was actually trading at. It's just when they start doing like reverse stock splits and moving the stock around, all of a sudden old numbers start getting adjusted based on the new number of shares, and that's why it shows at 8,200. But you could see how much this company was worth in relation to what it's worth now is insane. So you really got to zoom in out here to see that this even went to $5 a share recently. But anyways, so they added options on it today. Now, obviously, that could work out in a couple different ways. Options are going to give, the market makers the ability to start manipulating the stock a little bit more, and start pinning it and all that kind of stuff. However, it's a little intriguing to me because, it's coming out the gates right now at zero, right? I mean, this option chain just got created, and this has a lot of retail momentum. And so I'm interested to see where these get priced at this morning. Open interest obviously is going to start at zero. So you're really going to, right after the bell, I would imagine you'll get the opportunity to buy these at like a fair market value. But open interest, I would imagine, is going to shoot up insanely right off the bat as people start to load into these. And it provides retail the opportunity to really leverage this stock. And any big players, and I mean some of the biggest retail players that are behind this stock right now, if they're really still in it, they have the ability to move some money around like whales. So I think with the addition of options, you may see another little pop here in this stock, but then at that point, you'll start to see it, kind of get into that manipulated zone where it starts getting pinned, or potentially right off the bat, could be a trap where people load up on options today and they kind of figure out that max pain number before the stock gets moving and just pin it down there right away. I'm gonna be really watching this to see how this plays out, that they're getting the options added in like this right now, with so much retail interest and so much increase in volume. But looking at the Ortex data on CEI, looks like we have 49% short interest right now, which is high, very high. Cost to borrow 9.8 is high enough. It's higher than 1%. Utilization's at 95, almost 96%. So these are good squeeze numbers too, so you kind of have the squeeze potential. You got a ton of retail hype. We have options being added in today, which is going to give people the opportunity to get in at, little to no short interest, but I don't think that's going to last very long. Or not short interest, I'm sorry. IV. IV is going to be almost little to nothing as soon as this thing opens up. But then that thing's going to shoot through the roof, I would imagine, because these options are going to start off dirt cheap. And that's the other interesting thing to kind of worry about too. So, like I said, I'm going to be keeping an eye on this today just to see what happens, because with the addition of options, and they're going to be relatively cheap, especially this October 15th with 11 days out. And so anybody who has the opportunity to get in early on those, right? And there could be people getting into this thing before the market opens. I would imagine, just like anything else, you'll see maybe when it actually opens up this morning, there'll probably already be a little bit of volume showing right at the bell. And, so I guess what I'm getting at is there's going to be some people who are going to front load this. And then as all the open interest starts to build up and the IV starts to shoot through the roof, even if the stock doesn't move, there's a lot of opportunity to make money off the volatility in the contract price through the IV, and then you might have people dumping those early contracts, right off the gate before the stock even moves, and then a lot of people getting killed by IV crush. So I hope what I'm saying makes sense, but I mean, I guess basically what I'm saying is anybody who gets in early on this, and if the options chain just gets absolutely loaded up right off the bat, those early buyers of the contracts are going to have the ability to sell them for a profit, which in turn is going to make the IV drop and end up screwing over some late buyers. So yeah, I don't know. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of opportunities to make money in CEI today, but I'm going to kind of be just kind of standing back and watching and kind of to see. I'm interested just to see how the whole thing plays out. Present Minds, what's up? Alphonse says he's got some CEI. Right on. KLF, what's up? Alphonse is saying hold on CEI or sell. Honestly, this is a play that I haven't been in. I've just been watching, and I don't know what your cost basis is. I think if you're already up, definitely depending on how much you're up, what you're trying to do. I'm always looking to take profits, but I think that this thing does have the potential to keep moving. I'm not a buyer right now at $3. But I think if there were so many people that got in early on this, that, I mean, yeah, if you're up 5 times right now on your money, or even 2 times on your money, definitely have some stop losses set, just in case it starts crashing back down. There's a lot of room to go down on this one, but there's also a lot of potential to go up, especially with the addition of options and everything else. So if you're already in, just protect yourself and protect any profits you may have already through stop losses and all that. Let's see here. So those are kind of the squeeze plays that I'm watching right now in terms of squeezes. I really like ATER. I really like PROG. I'm going to be watching CEI because as this thing kind of builds up, short interest is rising, everything else, utilization, the addition of options, that's got some room to kind of move, I think. Let's see. So, getting to the scan, just like kind of like what's moving today and all that. There was some ones that I was checking out this morning that came out on my scanner. And we'll see if anything's changed since then. But those ones were, let's see, ZNE popped up. Looks like it's up 85% right now. Looks like Xenon Pharma set to hit record high on positive epilepsy drug trial. So they had some positive news on a phase 2 trial. Stocks up almost 100%. We've talked about kind of how to play these in the past. If we look at the daily chart, so it's going to open up today. Where's it at right now? 28. So way up here. And wow. I'm just over here screwing my charts up. There we go. We'll come over here. We look at the daily chart on this thing, and there we go. We're going to open up this morning at 28, and if we look, that's kind of an all-time high, at least on the year. We go to a weekly view again, going back, so it's never been in this range. Now, couple interesting things when you get a runner like that up there is, obviously you're not going to run into any resistance whatsoever because there's at least not any, previous resistance levels. The option chain on this thing does run out at 35. Just to keep in mind, like what you could be looking at, as a potential gamma squeeze. If we look at where it was at, it closed at $15. So it closed down here, and we did put some, a lot in the money here. But that's not any huge numbers. Let's see what the 36 million float. Those numbers are actually pretty decent then. And I'd imagine people piling on. So, I mean, anytime a stock's up this much, we've talked about how to play this. I'm not saying jump in now, this is going to go to the moon or anything. There's really only $5 of upside in the option chain. It could definitely go higher, but you got a lot of downside, and we've seen this happen before. Stock right off the open will dip. Maybe it could dip all the way down to 25, and then you want to look for an entry point, right? You want to look for that kind of reversal throughout the day. And then that's why, you want to day trade these stocks, is because, hey, maybe it dips down to 24. And even though it's a shit day for anyone who bought in up here, but now when it crosses over, we've got a big range. We could maybe potentially run from 24 all the way up to 29. It could also come down and gap fill and, come all the way back down to 15 before running. So you don't want to buy these and hold these up here. That's when you could really get killed. But if you see, a big breakout right off the gates at the open, there's no prior resistance there, you could have a huge move. Or if you see it tank at the open, look for that reversal, look for that crossover. And for me, I talked about this before, but I'm usually looking for this 50-day SMA, really for the stock to start trading above it, and that's kind of an entry point. I also like to use the 9 EMA going over the 20, but when I have all three of those, that's usually probably the easiest. Hey, this stock's ready to run, jump in, and you might be able to profit off some of that upside. So anyways, Zine, I think looking pretty good right now as one to kind of keep an eye on. Some of the other ones that came up on mine, JSPR. Now I was looking at this one earlier. So this thing had almost no volume, previously. It's up about 26% right now in the in pre-market. Now, this is what I thought was pretty interesting. So, I don't really like, this one as a day trade opportunity. If I had to pick some, it wouldn't be one of the top ones, but this is a SPAC. And I'm going to take this just because we've been talking about VIH a lot. And so what happened on this, I was kind of looking into what made it run. So you could see it was trading at 10 for the longest time, right in that range. And then the merger was on the 24th, which was here. Okay, that was the biggest day. But look at this. Once they announced the merger, which was on September 21st, which is here, you had 4 days of, basically a 50% run in the stock. Now, and this is typically what happens, but look. We were talking about this last week a couple times. Don't hold after, right? I'm talking specifically VIH, but so many other times this has happened too. CCIV is a perfect example. That was one that was Lucid Motors, last year back in February or earlier this year. But regardless, it's all about the hype, right? Right now, you can get in on VIH. It's trading at 10.09. October 14th is their meeting where they're going to come out with a merger date. So, but then once that merger date gets announced, you're going to see this huge spike. Maybe this spike will keep going up until the merger takes place. This is where the merger took place on JSPR. Now it's been free falling ever since. Now, I'm not saying that happens with all SPACs, but that's what you want to be, kind of aware of. If you're already in at something, it runs 50%. I wouldn't be holding into the merger date. And the reason I bring this up is because, again, I was looking at VIH, and it's had some nice spikes in here, 20%ers and things like that, but we still don't have the merger date. We have a loaded option chain. We have high short interest, all the things that I've been talking about with VIH. And I think once we get that big spike off, based off the merger news, it's going to kick everything else rolling, the option chain, the short interest, everything else. And it has a lot of room to run. And at the end of the day, if I'm wrong, the downside here is what, 7 cents from where it's at right now. So, there's not a lot of downside, definitely a lot of upside here. So anyways, that was my take on VIH. I know I kind of went into the scan, but I don't really like JSPR as a day trade opportunity this morning. Other ones that came up on the scanner, MRK. They've been in the news a lot right now for COVID. I think they're making a COVID pill, if I'm not mistaken. I want to say we saw this one come up the other day. Huge float here. It's already been running. I could see this potentially, giving us some opportunities, but for the most part, these large float stocks, I'll probably stay away from this one as well. Two that came up that off L Train scanner that he had sent to me earlier this morning. One was AMPY. Stock was trading at 575. Gapping down tremendously. I think it's down 60% right now in pre-market. Reported an oil spill in Southern California this morning. But if we look at this kind of goes for the opposite. This thing might tank down a little bit more, but it's got a lot of room to gap back up, a gap to fill. I don't know if it'll necessarily get up to 579, but it does have the potential to fill that gap or try to. And that's why on these gap downs, you kind of get the, if we look at daily volume here, looks like normally it trades at about, 500,000 to 1 million. And if we look this morning, it already has 5 million in volume trading on it. Okay. So again, that one's pretty interesting. It does have bad news. It did come down and touch $1.80, $1.85 already. But it's going to try to gap fill back up. So I think this one will probably provide some nice entry points throughout the day. And then the last one I'm going to pull up that it came up on a scanner earlier was OPGN. They just received FDA clearance on, what is this, AMR gene panel. Stock was trading at 276, currently up to 355, relatively low float at 38 million. If we take this back over here, so we could see it closed at 274, currently at 385. If we look at the daily chart right now, little bit of resistance maybe up here at this 360 level, which is basically kind of where it's trading at right now. It's right around here, so, but if we get a nice breakout above that today, it's got a lot of room to run previously 437 is the all-time high. Let's see if we look back even further. So the stock was trading at $41. Well, it could have been like we were talking about earlier, like stock splits and things like that. But at one point, the company was valued at least that high. So this is going way back to, I think, about 3 years. But yeah, I really like. I would say if I had to, and then just looking from a volume perspective, this is a stock that previously, 2 million, 1 million, 100,000, somewhere in there, and it's already got 10 million traded in it today. So again, float size is 38 million. So if I had to pick three for today that I like, and then we'll get to CLOV and some other stuff right now, but XENE, I really like what I'm seeing here, and AMPY playing the gap up, and then OPGN. And again, all the other plays that we've been talking about in previous days are kind of still in play too, right? Like, your ATERs, your PROG, the two that I talked about earlier, being kind of like the squeeze plays that I really like. Even going back, like FAMI has been a stock that's been, moving a lot, and those will always, until the volume completely dries up, they're always going to give you opportunities to jump in and out and kind of stick and move, as Ghost would say, and make some money. And that's what it's all about. So at least that's what these scans that I'm doing are all about, is just looking for those opportunities to get in and out of some stocks. But if I had to watch three today, as for right now, at least, they'd probably be these three right here, along with those two other squeezes. I did see someone said PALT. What's going on with that? That was one that came up last week. So it looks like there was some nice opportunities in there on Friday. Down to 950 right now. Let me change this real quick too. This one already hit as high as 15. Let me pull something up real quick. I remember we looked at this last week. I'm looking at Ortex data on it right now. Utilization's pretty high. Cost to borrow is also high. Estimated short interest is like ridiculously low though, which is kind of weird. But cost to borrow is at like 72. That's pretty damn high. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's definitely a gap fill, or no, there's not. I mean, it's pretty much that thing. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's probably still going to provide some nice room for trading opportunities. If we look at the volume so far this morning on it, not much, 207,000 in comparison to, it's been seeing like huge volume days. So it looks like, at least for right now, volume isn't too hot on this stock. Let's see what it's doing this morning. But again, I would maybe keep this on your watch list. To anything that's been moving recently will provide probably a wider range throughout the day. And what I mean by that wide range is like PALT last week, or last Friday, went from 1350 all the way down to a low of 990. I mean, that's almost a $3.50 range on a, let's say, a $10 stock. So 30% movement throughout the day. Obviously, that's like, straight down. But if you look here, you got an opportunity from 11.50 to 13.50. That's $2. An opportunity here from 10.40, up to 11.60. That's $1. That's 10% at least. And then if you if you come into trade short bias too, there's a lot of opportunity on the downside. So those are the stocks you want to you want to be trading when they have volume behind them. But it looks like volume's kind of drying up a little. That could change at any moment. Michelle, what's up? Good morning. Get this back up. Louis, Turks McGurts, what's going on? Says CEI. Oh yeah, CEI was the other one. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna move CEI right here. There we go. Because this is probably, even though I'm not gonna maybe trade this morning, CEI is the one that I really want to take a look at and see how this plays out with these options coming in and everything. Let's see here. Seek for Bleak, what's up? Victor One says thoughts on SoFi. You know what? I haven't been following it much. I do know that was a. Let's see. I saw some news. A friend of mine shared some news with me about SoFi over the weekend, but I kind of just glanced at it. Didn't really look much into it. Let's see. SoFi Technologies prices upsize private offering. That's old news too. So yeah. I don't know. It's not something that I've been trading much at all, to be perfectly honest with you. I don't really have any opinion on it. I mean, there's so many stocks out there. And this is one that I've never really dug into at all. At least from a fundamental perspective. I know looks like trading up here at $28. Yeah. Charts getting kind of all over the place. I don't know. I don't want to give you say I think it's a terrible investment or a great investment or anything. Yeah. I just it's not one that I've been watching. See here. HUT been a good stick and move over the past few weeks. Last week mid-7 up to mid-9s. Fluctuation with Bitcoin. Yeah. Let's see. Big Nate's asking about VLTA. Let's see here. Did I go over that one already? Oh, that was the one that you brought up. Yeah. That's right. We were looking at this one on Friday. It was sitting down there at all-time lows. Huge gap to fill. I haven't looked into it yet, but I do like I like this chart. I kind of like the setup. I like the price targets I saw in it. I just haven't. I want to dig a little bit deeper in it, but I really do feel like this stock has some from what I've seen. Looks like it's kind of in that undervalued state right now. Where then you look at it, short interest is pretty low. Again, I haven't done my due diligence with this one yet, but 170 cost to borrow, 99 utilization. Had a big volume spike recently, and from what I remember, let's see here. Yeah, they just got an upgraded price target to $18. So, which is where its previous all-time high was. So I really, Big Nate, nothing's really changed for me. I really like what I see in this stock. I just haven't had the time to really dig into it and figure out like why the huge gap down here, and all the other things that's going on with it. But this is one that I've got it like in my notes, in my cell phone. I've got an email to myself to go check it out while I'm at work today. Like, um, I even got a note here on my desk that I want to look into this stock a little bit more because that does, besides filling this gap up, which I mean, any stock can present those opportunities. It seems kind of grossly undervalued right now too. Basically trading at half of its recent price target. So, very intriguing stuff there. Faith, what's up? Good morning. Let me see here. All right. Okay, so just looking around right now, it looks like nothing much. In terms of what's on my watch list and everything, nothing's really moving too much other than the ones we talked about. The SPY right now, we could take a look at that real quick before we get into CLOV. Um, you know, I'm still sitting on some puts. Um, Still kind of holding cash with a lot of my plays, just to kind of see what's going on here. We saw this V. I had some puts here, sold half, ended up getting stopped out on the other half, but I had nice profit. And then I talked about last Monday, I think, that I entered back into those puts, the same exact ones, the 410s, and it started dropping down again. Um, I didn't take as much profit as I would have. I should have got out there, but I put a trailing stop on them, and I got stopped out on Friday. So, two reasonable trades there. I ended up getting back in, with some of my profits, just because we did kind of hit a low here. We went even lower on Friday. If this continues to drop and go into full on correction mode, I think we could end up seeing us hit somewhere down here a little bit. And if we zoom in, I believe there's a gap down to 400. Now I don't want that to happen. But I bought some puts just in case. To kind of and I've been sitting on cash for a while too, for almost 3 weeks now. For most of my other plays, just to kind of protect myself from the downside. But as soon as I kind of feel more confident in this reversal, I'm gonna enter back into my DraftKings play, and my long-term BNGO position. Looks like DraftKings is already starting to bounce back, and some of my other plays that I'm in long-term. But for now, I'm just holding cash, other than CLOV, GameStop, and then AVXL. I entered back into, I think, early last week. That was another long-term play for me. Patrick, what's up? Good morning. Says, is IV reasonable on VIH? Let's take a look. Last I remember, it was back down to like 100%. Oh yeah, I think considering where we're at with VIH right now, I would say so. Again, I wouldn't go for these October 15th for a couple reasons. The merger meeting's on October 14th, so you may not get any of that action. 11 days away, to me, is too short-sighted. If I had to do anything right now, I would probably go February. But even November is kind of intriguing because I really think that, like, after the 14th meeting, you're going to have a date announced. That's my expectation. And, even if the date ends up being way out in February, you're going to get some movement on that action there. But yeah, the way IV is right now, sitting at what, 90%, 99, 95. I think these options are fairly reasonable. If you look at, the cost of buying 100 shares right now is somewhere around $1,000. Or you can come. I mean, shit. Even if you went with leaps, and came out here to, if you just wanted to play it safe and maybe get the $10 strike, you could buy two of those at $5 a piece. And that would give you basically the price movement of 200 shares. The one thing you want to be weary of though is this widespread. From 10 cents to $5. I would maybe put a bid in at the midpoint, like for 250, and just wait for it to get filled. Because what ends up happening is you buy this for $5 right now, it's going to drop down to being worth 250 because there's not a lot of volume in there. So people are willing to basically buy this for 10 cents, and other people are willing to sell it for $5. So usually I would try to go with the middle on such a wide spread and just hope to get filled. But if you were to come, like, let's say, not really November, but out to February, and then looking at the same thing I'm talking about right now, if you wanted to play it safe, let's say you go $9 strikes, $2. I would rather own 5 of those right now than own 1,000 shares straight up. That gives me the price action of 500 shares. And that seems relatively safe at $9. If there's a nice spike, off the merger announcement and all that kind of stuff, and it ends up hitting into a gamma or short squeeze, that might provide you, a little bit more bang for your buck, a little bit more leverage. I don't really like going out here with like the $15 calls and everything because it may not reach that high. And if you were gonna play it though, that would be the one to play too. If you wanted to go out of the money because of that 0.25 delta, will give you your best bang for your buck. But yeah, so safer side probably 9. If you wanted to go more on the riskier side, out of the money, probably play these 15s, somewhere around there. But yeah, IV's pretty damn low right now. Dan, what's up? Good morning. Let's see here. So CLOV. Let's take a look at CLOV right now. Really been disappointing, over the last, probably since September. We were pretty steadily like holding around this $8 mark, right in here. Maybe go up a little, down a little, but trading right around there. And, in September, I'd say middle of September, we kind of broke past that previous resist or support. And, it seems like we're trading down more closer to like the 750 range now, right in there. But I don't think this is too sustainable. I don't think it's going to hold up much, very much longer. The big news we have right now for CLOV, or at least optimism, I should say, something, potential catalyst, is the CMS ratings, right? So those star ratings, CLOV currently is at a 3. If we're to get a 3.5 star rating, and this is on Thursday, okay, so if we're able to get a 3.5 star rating, that's going to be huge. If we're able to get a 4-star rating, that's going to be insane. I mean, that'll make the company like instantly profitable right away, because there's some money that comes along with that monthly per life under management. So either way, my expectation is that the company will get an increase in the star rating, and that'll be a positive catalyst. I don't know for sure if it's going to happen on Thursday. If you look at the website for it, it says on or around Thursday, or not Thursday, but October 7th. So It could be before, it could be after, but they want to get those star ratings out as soon as possible because open enrollment begins, I believe, on the 15th. And so, for Medicare, so they want to get those star ratings out so that, patients can actually look at the star ratings and choose what plan, what provider they want to go with. So it will be announced and it will be made public soon. The other big thing that can happen is if some of the bigger players, like Humana or, any of those larger insurance providers get a downgrade, and even if CLOV was to stay the same. And the reason I say that is they've been actually in the news recently or getting negative news, for fraud and other things. And so if they get a downgrade in their star ratings, and even if we remain neutral at 3, that would also be positive as well. If they get a downgrade and we go up, that would be extremely positive. But really, so I mean, aside from it just being something that one, patients are going to look at this and when they're choosing their plans or choosing whether to switch plans, potentially look at these star ratings and help that guide their decisions. But again, getting up to a 4-star, I think it's like $500 a month per life under management, and that would instantly make the company profitable. So anything like that, and that should be coming again somewhere around Thursday. So something to look forward to with CLOV, potential catalyst. On top of that, at any moment, I think we could see like some analyst price targets start rolling out here. That could actually trigger some price targets if people start seeing that, like, move from a 3 to a 3.5. Or potentially even a 4-star. I think we'll see some upgrades in there. Otherwise, we may end up needing to wait until, kind of that lead up into Q3 results, which should be like early November. So again, about a month away. But so we have a couple potential catalysts coming in here probably this week and then in the coming weeks. What's up? Looking at these comments. DJ Tardis says, "What's up? Good morning, Big Daddy Roro. What's the deal with Uma at Key Bank? His price target been like 6 weeks since the call. What gives?" I mean, yeah, I don't know. I don't know why we're waiting on some of these price targets. I mean, it could be, with and again, this is just pure speculation. But I think, like, for me, one of the things that draws me into CLOV and drew me into CLOV and looking at was like the technology side of it, right? And that's like the big play in CLOV. But I don't think you could necessarily assign a price target to CLOV based on the technology yet, because the technology is only being used internally. So it's like if McDonald's had some great software that helped them be more efficient with their drive-through and their burger making and everything like that. That's great. But that's only like technology that they get to use, right? Now, if all of a sudden they turn this into like a software as a service and started leasing it out to all fast food chains and, or even like smaller mom and pop burger shops can lease this software from them and it makes them more profitable and everything else. And now all of a sudden they'll be seen as a technology company. Otherwise, they're just seen as a really, really efficient fast food company. And one of the reasons is because of this tech that they own. And I think that's how a lot of these people are looking at CLOV right now, except for CLOV you can't say that it's really efficient right now. It's not profitable. Okay, so think about that. Revenue's increasing, yeah. Do they have this technology? Absolutely. But it's internal tech right now. It's not something that they're necessarily, it's not a software as a service right now. So really any analyst price target, like an analyst who, maybe is a little standoffish or not ready to release some lofty price target. The price target that they have to release needs to be based off CLOV, the insurance company, and CLOV, the insurance company, right now isn't profitable. So we again a star rating increase that would help. Another good quarter of enrollment. Open enrollment starts back up here October 15th, goes through January, so the Q4 should show huge growth, especially since they just doubled their geographic footprint and got the approval for that. So I think we'll see, the future's bright for CLOV on the health insurance side, definitely, but it's not there yet. They're not profitable yet. The technology side, Clover Assistant is kicking ass. If you look at everything that they talk about with it, they're making moves to integrate it into like cloud services and all this other stuff. And they've been, they're setting it up as a software as a service model. But we just haven't seen any of that yet or any plans for that yet. So, but I think it'll get there. Ghost, what's up? I see Ghost is in here. Tonight is No Financial Limits, week 4. And I believe, let me make sure here. Did I do it? Hold on, guys. All right. All right. I just saved it. So down below in the link to this channel or the description of this channel. So tonight, Ghost and I are gonna do our NFL show, No Financial Limits. It's week 4. We've been doing it every Monday night, but I put the link to tonight's show down in the description to this video. It's at 4:00 on the West Coast, 7:00 on the East Coast, basically leading up to the Monday night game. We talk a little bit about stocks. We'll talk about what's happening in the market today. Some of these stocks that have been running, some, movers, other plays that we're in. Talk a little bit about CLOV sometimes. I think last week we spent a lot of time talking about CLOV. But then in the second half, we start talking NFL, kind of shooting the shit about football, talk about what plays we want to pick for the week. I've been getting my ass kicked on that lately. I feel like my confident picks, the picks that I'm like really confident in, kind of like my first 2 or 3 picks that I select, I've been doing really good on. But the way we do it, we gotta pick 8 and 8. So we kind of go through. He picks one, I pick one, he picks one, and all those like later ones, I've just been doing terrible. I think I went 3 and 5 the last 2 weeks. I don't even know how I did yesterday. I know for sure I hit 3 games, and those were kind of the 3 that I was the most confident in again. So we'll see. But it's a lot of fun. If you have an opportunity to come check us out, it's again, we do it every Monday night for that hour leading up to the Monday night football game, and should be fun. Raiders look really good right now. Playing the Chargers. The Chargers, I don't think can be slept on. I mean, they just beat the Chiefs. I really like Justin Herbert. I like Austin Eckler. I just like their team right now, and I think that that division is shown to be pretty tough. But yeah, if you come on, let me see here. 1 second. Come check us out tonight. Should be a lot of fun. Let's see. Matt, good morning. Noir says, how strong is the patent on the tech? I'm not sure, but I know they just got like 2 patents approved. All the moves that it seems like they've been making recently have been all about the technology. In regard, we're talking CLOV now again, but it's been all about the tech, right? Like all the moves they've been making. Um, they hired the two technology, officers that had executives that had backgrounds in tech. They got those patents approved. They announced that they were trying to make it easier to integrate into every type of cloud service. Like all this has to do with the technology side. So I would imagine that at some point this will become more widely seen as a technology company, and that's when things are really going to get fun. Um, let's see here. So I think Ghost is actually going to come on here in a second. But in the meantime, so since we started talking football, not a good day for the 49ers. Obviously, I don't know anyone who watched it, but I think they looked pretty promising with Trey Lance came in later in the game. Still sitting at 2-2, so a little disappointed yesterday football wise, but I don't know if we got any baseball fans out there. The Giants locked up first place in the National League, and the NL took the NL West pennant yesterday, so that was pretty exciting for me. So that was I think I even said it earlier in the game. Or earlier in the day, I was on my way to go coach my son's flag football games, and I knew I wasn't going to be able to see the Giants play or the first half of the Niners game, and I was going to be kind of out all day. And I had said it on a text message, like really, the bright spot for me today is going to be the Giants, clinching the National League. Um, you know, and at least that happened. So still a good day overall. But man, I don't know if anybody caught that Patriots game last night too. That was insane. That was really really cool to watch. The rookie going up against the veteran and Tom Brady. I don't even like the Patriots. I don't even like Tom Brady. Only joking. I mean, you can't deny how good he is. But it was a great game. It really was. And the Patriots were in it up until the end. The veteran quarterback won, but it was a lot of fun too. Let's see here. Yeah, Kimster said Orange October. Absolutely. Little Giants baseball. Oh, we got some Giants fans in here. See, I've been talking football this whole time. I didn't know we had too many baseball fans in here too. Um, I'm not a Patriots fan, but I'm just wondering as a Patriots fan how that felt. With Tom Brady coming back. I mean, you got to respect the guy. He did so much for the franchise. But then like to root against him, right? He's in New England. As a Patriots fan, are you happy for Tom Brady right now? Coming off a Super Bowl win and looking very strong, like they're going to be going to the NFC Championship game again. Or are you pissed off that he beat your team last night? Just a question. All right, looks like we got Ghost coming in right now. Let me see what's going on here. Give me a thumbs up whenever you're ready. I'll set it up. Okay. All right. Got this going. Let me lower this down. That's our CLOV level 2 data. Bring it back over. There we go. Michelle said the Pats game was tough to watch as a Pats Brady fan. All right. Let's see here. So, all right, Ghost, it looks like you are live.
What's going on, everybody? What's good? Man, our teams look bad yesterday, Coach.
Yeah. Nah. I don't think that the season is necessarily over for either team. I mean, obviously the Niners are 2-2. Um, Steelers. I don't think it's over, but yeah, the Niners didn't look good at all the last 2 weeks, man. Like the offense has been struggling. Who knows? Like maybe Jimmy G getting hurt. And I thought
Blessing
Trey
in disguise.
Lance Trey Lance looked good, and he came in last week against the Packers and was able to get some stuff done in the red zone. And then he was forced to come in and take over yesterday. And the offense didn't look terrible. He was able to make some plays that like some plays where you're able to escape and extend the play and kind of keep things moving, which Jimmy G hasn't been able to do. Um,
I got
maybe
Garoppolo on the fantasy tip, so I was happy when he came in, added to the mix.
Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I think like with the Niners, that division is going to be insane. The Cardinals just blew out the Rams. I don't know if that thing is they all got to play each other twice. You know what I mean? And so I think they're just going to beat up on each other. You know,
Absolutely.
and the
So what do you
Steelers.
think about yeah, we're gonna skip that talk. What do you think about man, my Steelers look so bad. Our offensive line is so bad. Ben can't throw a pea in the ocean. It hurt, man. It hurt. Nothing else to say. It hurt.
I saw Najee Harris scored it. Was that his first of the year or no?
No, but was that his first of his year? It was his first of the year.
Yeah, I just as a
It was.
Najee Harris is from the Bay Area, and like I've told you, I coached against him for 4 years. He was a varsity player from his freshman year, through his senior year, and they're one of our rivals. So we played each other at least once a season, and so it's fun to kind of watch his career at Alabama, and I've been following. I know I told you I thought he was going to be rookie of the year this year, and I think he still kind of has an opportunity to. But so I was watching the game yesterday and I saw him score and I was just like, is that his first one? I wasn't sure.
Yeah, I think it is secretly. You know what the thing is our offensive line is so bad that he's getting play after play after play, and they're just called back. Like his stat line doesn't show what he's doing out there. He's a beast. He can't go down. He's like L Bell, how he leans forward and gets an extra 2-3 yards. Guys stacked. He's a beast. He's gonna be a beast. We're gonna watch that dude for 10 years, but we need some offensive line help bad. We're gonna talk all the football nonsense come tonight, man. I
Yeah,
wanna
yeah.
I wanna talk about a couple of these stocks, man, because I see a couple of runners. What's your scanner picking up?
So when I did the scan earlier and the three that I liked was ZENE, AMPY, and OPGN. Those were like the three that really stood out. I know OPGN and I think AMPY also were on L Train Scanner too that he kind of sent out this morning. Um, but those are kind of the three that I'm going to be watching today. And then just along with like all the ones that have been running recently, like the in terms of short squeezes, I talked about this like at the beginning of the show, actually the very beginning. PROG, PROG,
Yeah.
and ATER, I still think are like to me, the short squeezes that kind of like have everything you want to see: the high short interest, the cost to borrow, the utilization, the increase in volume, all that kind of stuff. Like if I had to pick, um, two squeeze plays to get into right now, it would probably be those two.
Yeah, I think Ader's got a lot of potential. I also I don't know. I'm looking at like some of the research I was looking into, and mid caps usually come fourth quarter perform a lot better than the third quarter. So I'm curious to see, you know, a couple stocks out there for the long haul. But I think I think Prog's got a lot of potential today for like a quick little, a couple pops here and there. I'm gonna try and take advantage of the of Prog for sure. And then OPGN. This one came on the radar for the first time this week, huh?
Yeah, I was looking at it earlier. It looked like they got where's it at? FDA clearance. It's a like kind of like a phase 2 results type of deal this morning. But they got FDA approval. So That's why the stock is moving. I seen Zip Jester and Noir just said something about TMC spiked just a little second ago. Looks like it ran from about 520. It spiked up to 550, and it's kind of coming back down right now. But it's starting to see some volume pouring into it right there. Looks like some news. TMC, the metal company provides business update as it advances plan to unlock critical battery metal resource. So they looks like a kind of a press release type thing, and that's why it's seeing a little bit of movement right now.
I'll be honest, I really like the TMC play. I mean, it's one of those plays where in reality of what they do could be so impactful. Like deep sea mining for battery, you're getting all the breakdowns of a battery. That's a lot of money. And supposedly what they're saying is they have enough batteries to supply all of Tesla, or the components within the battery metal that would have supplied Tesla this whole time. And then some. Like there's that much in the deep sea apparently. So I don't know. They have these domes that they've kind of built patents on and figured out what they're able to do, and it's able to go deep, deep, deep down and basically mine some precious metals. So the concept of it is pretty attractive. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the only thing I didn't like about TMC, or not like, I mean, shit, we remember we were playing it and stuff, but what kind of turned me away and the reason I kind of like backed away was because, like we were kind of playing it off these spikes. This was what, mid September. And then once it fell down and kind of got down here, now you're sitting at right at max pain. You know what I mean? And it's like, and I feel like with all these plays, and I'm not saying everything that you just said is probably perfectly, makes too much sense and everything else, but IV's like, 260% right now, 240%.
Right.
So we've seen this play out how many times where they're probably
Yep.
going to pin this thing to max pain for the next like 2 to 3 weeks, 4 weeks until that IV levels back out, and they're just going to like kind of take advantage of the premiums right now at least. But that's why it's like there's so many stocks out there. If you kind of keep it in the back of your mind and just say, okay, like everything you just said, TMC is more of a long-term play. That's maybe one that, every week you kind of come back and check on, and it's like, all right, IV's kind of settled out now. It looks like, max pain's no longer going to be an issue. Now let me build my position. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's the way
Right.
I've
Right.
been looking at it, because there's been so many of them, like, and I think even that was one of the reasons that I really liked ATER too, when we were talking about all those squeeze plays a couple weeks ago, was like ATER's max pain at the time was 10, and
They were at like 14 or
yeah, but now look what happened. So it got up to 19, it shot up to 14, and now ATR it's trading right there at max pain, and it's like they're gonna keep kind of hammering it in there every week. I don't know.
did you see Shibu Inu? Remember one of our first episodes on no financial limits? You said what's the riskiest play? The Hail Mary of Hail Marys. It was Sheeb.
Oh,
That thing's
that's
up
yeah.
34%.
I've been hearing people talk about that one. I've never bought it. I don't even know how to buy that. But I guess it's being taken off, right? What's it what kind of move
I
is
mean,
it
these are
made? I don't know
fractions of
anything about it.
pennies. These are fraction of a pennies, right? So it's like trying to eliminate that zero, get that much closer to a dime, but it's like 0.00009. You know what I mean? It's a fraction. Put it this way, you could put up like 35 million of them for like a few $100. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it's one of those little darts, a little blind dart action to see where it hits. But it's fun, man. I like those kind of things for fun, man, just to see.
Hey,
VLTA.
what's that?
I see Big Nate said VLTA is up 2.5%.
Yeah, so real quick, I want to show this thing from Michelle, but and then we'll go to VLTA too, because I want to get your thoughts on that one. But so right here, IRNT, this is one that the Jen actually brought up like 3 weeks ago, because the short or not short interest, the cost to borrow was just insane, and it's still been sitting there.
6%.
Yeah, like so. I mean, anything you figure where it's at right now, you basically get paid 2% a day to loan this thing out. You know, roughly. But and it's been like this for like 3 weeks, 100% utilization. Um, you
Wow.
know, it's and then I think Michelle just said that in the chat that on iBorrow Desk, which is what through Interactive Brokers, the short interest is actually or the cost to borrow is actually like 1,000. Um, it's just insane. I mean, it did squeeze up all the way up to 47.50 recently, and it's just been on a steady decline.
We played IRNT. I want to say a few weeks ago, right?
Yeah,
Or
I
maybe
want to
month,
say
month and a
it
half.
was somewhere. I think I kind of played it somewhere in here.
Me too. Yeah.
I wasn't in it up to 47 ish, but I know I don't want to say I played it somewhere on this day,
I
the
remember this is
13th.
one that I just kept looking at aftermarket, like, oh my god. It's when you're day trading them, you're trying to get out before the end of the day. And literally, I just kept seeing it run and just being like, all right, I missed that one. I'm not going to chase it tomorrow. And all right, I missed it. I'm not going to chase it tomorrow. And I kept saying it, just kept running. It's
Listen,
sick.
so yeah, I don't know. It says the short interest is only like 8%, but utilization's at 100, and cost to borrow is like insane. So
How
I
does
don't
that
know.
even make sense?
Well, you figure I don't know what they use in there, but I guess the amount of free float on loan is only 2%. So let's just say a stock has 100 million shares out there. If 2.5% of them are on loan, that means only what is that? Shit, 20
20,
20,000 shares are on loan out
yeah,
of that whole million, and that's all that's available. So if all of those are being shorted, that'll get your
right.
utilization to 100, but that's still a tiny amount of the float. So I don't know. It's just
Depending on how
um
many shares available on that free float is what really makes it a big difference when you have them shorted. But damn, it's just such a low. It just seems like they can cover so quickly, and it wouldn't affect the price as much because of how big the free float is. You know.
yeah. So here's a VLTA, and Big Nate actually brought this up last week. But we were looking at this. He brought it up on the day it came down here. I mean, that would have been a huge entry point to get in, but it was like at an all-time low. It just received an analyst upgrade to $18, which actually puts it at its all-time high back here. And right now it's trading at about $9.40, and then. So I mean, just that alone, like just looking at it, you got a stock that's trading at its lowest.
And VLTA, that's the EV play, right? There's an EV
um,
play in that.
yeah, it's
Volta,
Volta.
1%.
Yep. But then we were kind of looking at I don't know, man. It seems pretty it's got 99% utilization on this stock. With 170 cost to borrow. Okay, short interest is kind of the same though. It's low. It's like 4%. But again, that all has to do with how many shares are available. So not necessarily a squeeze play, but high cost to borrow, everything else, and that recent $18 price target. This just looks like a nice
I think
value
it's
play.
the infrastructure. The infrastructure deal is probably what's kind of having this gap up today. I think there's a lot of plays on the infrastructure deal. I don't think it's long term growth, but I think it's like you can get a couple pops on some of these plays.
All right, so the FinTel short list. I kind of went over the top five every day. I've been kind of looking at the top five. So today was BMRA, Bio America. PROG is one we've been talking about. That one's on there at number 2. Number 4 and 5 is ATER and MRIN. So those are ones that we've been looking at. But APOP, is one that just popped up on there, and looks like it has a recent high at 35.52. It popped up to $30 about on the 27th. And if we pull up Ortex on that one right now, looks like 26% free float on loan. Cost to borrow is 232, 98% utilization. So those are all things that you'd want to see in a squeeze play. So I don't know what's going on there. It doesn't look like it's been getting much volume though recently. If we look at the volume on this stock, what is that? 400,000, 500,000. Not a ton. Float
That's not.
size. Float size doesn't even show up.
I think you got to be real careful when you're trading these low float. I mean, it's just such a violent move could be pulled, a rug pull, etc. So you got to be real careful when you're hitting those, man.
Hell yeah. And it says a micro cap, and it's not even giving me
Micro.
the float size.
That's scary.
Yeah, so
That's scary.
I don't know. I've never really looked into this stock at all. But it was number 2 on the FINTEL short list today, and I guess it's popping right now, is what DJ Tardis said. Not much. It's not even moving much. So yeah, I don't know.
How you playing the spy right now? Let's talk about it.
So I just talked about this a little while ago. So I got some here. I'll pull this back up real quick. So I told you I got stopped out of my original.
Mm-hmm.
The first round of spy puts. I sold some here, about half, and got stopped out of the other half around here. Re-entered my position last Monday. I didn't sell any, but I put a trailing stop on it and got stopped out of everything on Friday. And I actually, so I mean, I've made profit on both.
This
And
is what I think is so interesting. It's like this is like the timing of being in spy calls and spy puts with how volatile it is right now. Like you almost can't go wrong. 'Cause I was on the opposite side of it.
yeah, you
I sold
bought
half.
some calls down here, right?
Yeah, I sold. Well, I was originally in for 88 cents or 89 cents per share, and then I ended up dropping it at a 36 one day, I think it was, and it averaged me out to 55 if I'm not mistaken. And so, ironically on Friday, I actually got back to above. I was up like 12%. So I cut half, just because it's on a Friday. I cut half, and I waited for the second half. I'm still rolling with quite a few right now, just to see what happens. I think we're gonna see a nice peak in the opening. It started off after our or pre-market was heavy green, and not pre-market but on Sunday, and it came in. I woke up this morning. I was like, all right, it's kind of reversing a bit, but I'm seeing it climb nicely. I think
Yeah.
it goes up, but it's just crazy, right? It's like you and I can buy the same opposite plays. Depending on when you sell, you could both make money in it.
Yeah, and I mean with those, like, it's obviously because I do have a couple more. Like I bought, so I got stopped out. I put like a tight stop trail on it because it was already doing so well, and I didn't want to have to sit there and watch it. So I got
Right.
stopped out for a profit. So I mean, I've made um kind of made some good money off both sets now. But I still think it's got the potential if we get into correction mode to go down to 410, and there's a gap sitting there at 400. So if and when at some point this thing comes crashing down a little bit, like correct, not a market crash, but just a 10% correction, that'll take us back down to about 410, 400. I mean,
Right.
I know it sounds like a lot, but that's 10%. And we're at about 20%, or I'm sorry, 5% down from like the all-time high right now. So I still think there might be another
September
5% pullback in there.
September historically, I notice it's like that. So August is usually real good for the spy, and then September kind of gets not humbled, but brought back to earth a bit. Because I think they were saying this was its worst month since March of 2020. The biggest percentage drop since March of 2020. If that's not a correction, I don't know what is.
Yeah.
To me, that's the way I see it. So I look for just certain percentages drops in one day. If I see like a 2.5% drop, and I don't believe the reason, like greenage and whatnot. I believed it was a real reason. I just believed it bounced back at least enough from where it was. And then I don't know. I think it's coming back strong. I think it breaks all time highs this month.
So I got are you saying all time highs this month? Yeah.
I think so.
I mean, I could see that if October starts rolling. That's being real quick. And then I wanted to ask you about Prague one more time because we're getting some questions about it in the chat. But that's been what's happening, right? It falls down and then it rallies within the next two weeks for an all time high. It falls down, it rallies within the next 2 weeks for an all time high. So if it's going to follow the pattern, and this is exactly what it did last September and October too, almost to a T. Like if we look back, you could see this same, or it's not even in there. I'd have to go to a weekly view to see it, but it was like a double V, like it came down and then came down again. Or is there, and we saw one similar to that, really October, September. If we go to the weekly view, let me pull this back just a little bit. Yeah, right here. See how this is on weeks now, but it's kind of exactly what we're seeing right now. I think we're still in the middle of it, but then it'll just continue to rip up. Obviously this is the the March, the March little crash that happened. And I mean it lost almost 50% there. But yeah, I could see that if it starts reversing, and we've already seen the worst of it. I think we'll definitely see that bounce back and rally to a new high, probably like 460 range, somewhere in there.
Yeah,
Hey,
I
so
think
with
I'm
Prague, I mean, I'm getting questions like, what do you think the price range is in the week? Is it a good play? I've talked about this earlier. I really do think that if I had to pick two squeeze plays right now, Prague and ATER are probably the biggest ones that I see that kind of have everything going for them in terms of 60% short interest on Prague right now, 17% cost to borrow. Still a lot of room for that to go up, but 99% utilization. You're getting this increase in volume every day. So it definitely has that room, but shit, I don't have a crystal ball, man. I can't tell you where it's going to be at the end of the week. You have a gap. You have some gaps in here that at some point are going to try to get filled, all the way down to $1. I'd say your downside, just looking at the charts, is probably going to be somewhere around 90 cents or to 60 cents. But
I think it's the same type, in and out type of play.
yeah,
You want to be in when the squeeze happens, but at the same time, there's just no guarantee a squeeze happens. So I've been just tagging this one in and out. I played this one last week, actually. I think Al Trades actually popped it up in one of our group chats. And I've
what
just
I do like about Prague though, and in terms of the potential, is you're looking at 100 million float stock, right? And so the option chain goes all the way to $10. So, and it's trading below 2 right now. And you already have this 31,000 and 17,000 in the money. That's enough to move, 100 million float. Anything in like double digits is enough to move 100 million float. As it crosses 250, 5 is pretty big. You start looking throughout the chain. It looks like January's loaded up pretty well too. So, it's got some potential there to like really have that 5 times movement, but is it worth, like, to me, buying and holding this stock? You got to look at the risk reward. If you buy this stock and hold it from here on out, I think there's a pretty strong possibility that it goes to 10 and you 5 times your money. But if you're holding this overnight, who knows? You might wake up tomorrow and all of a sudden, we're dropping back down to $1. So it's and there's no trailing stops or stop limits or anything like that in after hours. So you're really just gonna be, you might wake up one day and it's lower. You just gotta look and see what you think. I mean, shit, the same thing can happen with CLOV. I know I've been holding that for a while, but Prague looks pretty good. I don't know.
Hey, Clove is man, Clove is a whole different beast. I think that we got some time. We got some time, but I'm really hoping October 7th. And you probably talked about it today at one point, but I hope October 7th we see a star increase. I went down the rabbit hole of these stars, man, and apparently 3.5 stars is kind of like the new 4 with COVID, where there's enough bonuses and things like that. But I want to see some. I'm excited. I guess I'm just excited. I want to see October 7th come around. All right, let's
Yeah,
see
I
it,
was
bro.
just saying earlier, like, you know, if we stay the same, let's say we stay at a 3-star rating, then what I would want to see the most is probably, and I think you said this the other day, is downgrades in the other companies, right? Um, Now if we get a 3.5 star, that would be amazing. Um, Along with some downgrades in other companies would be amazing. If we get the 4-star, that's just going to be unreal, and the we're going to see this stock
I
just take
can't
off.
see it any other way, to be honest with you. I just can't. I can't. I can't justify it in my mind.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Um,
Like
so
to me, the big thing is like, how do you justify people who have committed fraud? How do you justify them being higher star rated than you? It's like it just doesn't add up to me. So it's either we're getting a 3.5, and maybe some of these other big legacy players are dropping, um, or maybe we're going to a 4, and maybe they're not really getting hindered too much by it. But I just don't see it happening any other way. I really don't. And it's like at this point, the stock's price is 735. I'm not trying to get anyone hopes up. I don't care. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't affect me. I'm not here to like paint a picture of how Clove's gonna come and save the day and excuse me, get in now or anything. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying like I don't see it any other way, Coach. I really don't. At this point, I really genuinely don't see at least a 3.5 star. I can't
yeah,
see it.
I I I agree. I think we at least see the 3.5.
Yeah,
It just they've made so many strides on the health insurance side. Offering the grocery benefits, doing all these other little things, these little news articles that we've been seeing coming out. And even just their whole mission, and they're really more about the actual health care than the bottom
it,
line.
it's
And that,
very simple. If you're taking underinsured populations into account and you actually weight that properly, this is why CMS is even entertaining changing the way they do their format, because most legacy players, they don't care about underinsured. They're trying to go to, locations and counties that have lower claims. Lower claims for them helps them as an insurance company.
yeah,
So
that's gonna make them more profitable right off the bat,
yeah,
right? It's just like,
exactly.
yep,
Exactly. So you look at Clove and you look at the fact, like you just said, they're really trying to like make change. Yeah, of course. Do they want to be profitable? Yeah, they're not Mother Teresa. They're not just going to go give free insurance to everyone in the world. No, I get it. But at the same token, they feel there's a way to obtain all of this, and they're on their path to doing so. So to have such a horrific star rating is it's not acceptable. It's really not, because if they would have been at 3.5% last year, this would have been huge for them in regards to their MCR at the second quarter earnings. It wouldn't have been at 111%. So you would have seen a maybe even a analyst upgrade by then. So the fact that they're still at the 3-star, and the fact that they have enough conversations taking place that are genuinely bringing the idea of change with CMS, it's a wrap.
I
They got to
I
move.
uh, I agree 100%. I don't know the answer to this one, so I don't know if you do. Dan's asking, didn't United Health get banned from signing up new
Well,
members this
so
year?
I don't think it's banned in general. I think they got like 3 policies stripped from them. So there's specific counties that they offered a specific MA plan in, apparently, and I don't know if it's just MA though. I think it could also be in line with their other insurance policies. So it's not like it's like we're gonna get all of their customers now in those counties. But yeah, they definitely got stripped from 3 policies in general that they cannot offer in that policy in particular.
Got you. Okay.
So did Humana and Anthem, I think, as well.
Yeah, well, there's been like so much fraud going on, and that's the other thing too. So, like, one of the biggest things, that happens with a lot of these insurance companies, especially like with Medicare and things like that, but probably just in hospitals in general, just taking advantage of. I mean, I've seen it
Prog
with some of my
running.
own hospital bills, but upcoding, right? It's like, you go into a hospital, you go into a doctor's office or something like that, and they're basically they're coding things up on the hospital side so that
Right.
the insurance company, they know that like the customer doesn't care because the patient isn't paying it, it's the insurance company. Well, then what happens with some of these insurance companies where they're not actually paying it, they're getting money through they're getting reimbursed from through the government and stuff as they participate in their own upcoding. um but that's one of the things that the Clover Assistant is going to help with too, on Clove's side. So like when you look at, can Clove get in trouble or anything like that through upcoding? Yeah. But one of the things that it prevents is that, or that it's designed to prevent, right? Because it's going to be triple checking what everybody's inputting into the system and running it against a patient's previous history, other patients' previous history, and then prompting the doctors and everybody else to say, hey, is this right? You entered this in and this doesn't fit our model. Um, so yeah, Dan pointed out Prague is running right now.
Running.
Um, yeah, just damn, that would have been a nice entry too. Like I wasn't looking to play this, but me and you were talking about it. I don't know if you can see this right here, but I had the 9 trading over the 20, and right in that second minute, it broke above the 50 SMA, and I mean that would have been, to me, if I was sitting there day trading it right now, that would have been my entry. Would have been at the very least maybe $1.80, and it's up at $1.95 right now. So
This is gonna be one you could play all day. I feel like.
yeah, it'll probably dip down. I really like the way it's moving right now though. And then remember we were just looking at that option chain. Um, this is next week's expiration too. So Delta's gonna be increased a little bit. And yeah, I mean shit, if we the open interest right now at that $2 strike is 21,000 on a relatively low float stock. I think
It's about to break two.
yeah, if it breaks two, it's gonna keep moving. And then there's a lot more open interest at the 250 strike too. So um, now today they added in the 350. I don't know what that's gonna do, but there's definitely a lot of room for this thing at least to probably propel itself up into like the $4 range. I think it might stall out a little bit there, at least looking at the option chain.
I mean, if this gammas, dude, this will tear. If the gamma squeeze starts, I think they got to be around 250 to 3 by this Friday, right?
Yeah, the only problem though is, I mean, so there's nothing. So like once you get past 3, there's a huge gap there to carry you to 5,
I
right?
think that picks up all week though if the movement's pushing. No,
Yeah, so like let's just say today it closes at 250. You'll see all the gaps get filled where like tomorrow you'll see a $4
okay.
strike, a 450 strike, and maybe even a 550 and a 6, which gives people the opportunity to come in and load it up more. But there's just these huge gaps from like 3 to 5, 5 to 750, 750 to 10. Um, but I think for sure there's enough here to like move this thing to 450. And then like you said, shit, if it was to get up to $4 today, you're going to see the option chain, fill up all the way with strikes all the way up to
Wow.
10 tomorrow.
I'm waiting for this dip on Prague so I can get in, man.
Yeah, Thomas just said Clove is going to 7. I think he might be right. Um,
Nah, nah,
I don't know, man. It, it
nah.
just
This
it
is the
just dipped down. Looks like we got a little bit of support at 720.
722, and if you stretch out for a while now, I mean intraday it's broke there, but it keeps staying above that 722 for some time, like 4 months time. I think this is the last hoorah they got, because I think if a star rating does get increased, I don't see how price analysts don't come out with raising their price targets. I mean, we're talking about the path to profitability being that much closer, if not there.
There we go. I couldn't see the
Level 2.
yeah, the level 2 wasn't showing up once we got down here in these lower ranges. Damn, that must be a huge order because that's still not showing up on there. It says 08767 at $7. Hold up. I have to extend this. I want to see what that buy order is. 108,000. Wow.
A buy order right now?
At $7. So even if we fall down there,
It's jumping right up.
yeah, I don't see us getting lower than that. I mean that buy order right there on level 2 right now. At $7, there's 108,000, 14,000. We definitely got support at 7. Yeah, man.
I'm in on PROG now, by the way.
You jumped in? Shit, it's starting to curl back up too. You know, a lot of times
a bigger dip, but
so the other thing that I'll use these other ones for too, like this 9 EMA, is when you start to see something fall. Let's say, you know, it came way up here and it's starting to fall back down. You get stopped out or something, right? So maybe you locked in profits at $1.96. Then I'll come over here and set my next limit order on the 9, you know.
yeah.
And that way usually it'll at least come down. Now, you could set that limit order at the 9, you got filled at 189 and it drops all the way down to, you know, VWAP, and then it's like, okay, well that was a shitty entry point. But, you know, if you were to get in somewhere around here at 189 and, you know, yeah, it dipped to 188, but now it's firing back up, you know. And so a lot of times if I do get stopped out up here on these big red candles and I still want to get back in, I'll just set it at the 9. You know what I mean? So I would set an entry point here at 191. Back
like
here
that.
would have been at 189, and just kind of follow that thing back up.
I've been noticing, like, throughout the day on certain charts, either it'll kind of respect the 20 but dip below the 9 quite often, or it respects the 9 like throughout the day. And so when it finally pierces above, it's respecting that 9, then I don't even put a stop loss, I just watch it. But when it's like you know, when it doesn't respect the 9 at all and it just keeps having those dips to the 20 but comes back to life, those are the ones that I'm noticing I'm making more money on, to be honest, right now. Because like you said, you get stopped out so quick.
Here, I'm going to move CLOV over here real quick, and I'll move PROG over here because I want to show you something too. So every stock moves a little differently too, right? So the other thing that you can sometimes look at is, you know, if it, and I think this one's kind of like you said, like, look, it's bouncing right off that 9 right now. But sometimes, you know, if you're like trading a stock for multiple days in a row and everything else, you start looking at different numbers, like let's say the 8. It didn't change much. But, you know, you start like, oh, maybe it didn't change because I didn't actually change it. 8. Apply. No, that actually, but, you know, you start like changing different numbers in there. And it may be that one given stock, instead of trading off the 9, it trades off the 10, or it trades off the, you know, or sometimes I've also noticed too that, like, instead of using, you know, like I always trade on 1 minute candles, but if you were to pull up like a 2-minute candle, it might even be respecting some numbers differently. You know what I mean? So it's just every stock is a little bit different, and it's just like finding that you know what that stock is using. But for me, the easiest and like the one that usually, and I think it's just because more traders use it, the 9 and the 20 seem to be, you know, what works the best for me, at least. See, like right there, let's say you would have got in at PROG at $1.91. You know, now you're playing VWAP now, right? And it may have been that it moved too high too fast, and we need to see this 20 EMA catch up to it. But
I'm in at 194, and I still might catch this one a little bit lower and add to. I didn't get many shares. It's only $1, so or $2. So, what's up,
think
Faith?
I think Thomas is asking for a CLOV Vortex update. Let me grab that real quick. And
I
then
mean,
I
dude, the
actually need to.
short interest on CLOV is slowly going up, man. Slowly going up.
Yeah, so right now, looks like 16%, 25% on loan, 55 million shares on loan. Cost to borrow is really nothing. Utilization 79. So
You know, last time we had this crazy pressure on CLOV, the days to cover is what was so much longer than it was this past few months, and it's
yeah,
because our volume is starting to get low. It's almost like just a repeat, man. I showed you a chart the other day where it was like the exact same impressions. I called it kicks or shoes or something
yeah.
because it just looked like you could pop shoes, pop feet in these shoes. But we're right on that curl, man. So I'm curious to see the action this week, man. I really am.
Well, we have a catalyst coming this week.
Right?
And depending on what that star rating is, then there could be potential other catalysts coming in. With analyst upgrades. If we move to a 3.5, I think you see analyst upgrades. We move to a 4, we're going to see analyst upgrades. That's just going to come because now you're talking about a legitimate, you know, upgrade to the business side of the health insurance company. So, with that star rating increase, so I'm excited about Thursday, and it doesn't necessarily say that it's gonna happen on Thursday. It said
Right.
on or around October 7th. So I mean, shit, it could be tomorrow.
Right.
It could
Honestly,
be Friday. Who knows? But I think it's coming like any day now. But hey, I gotta go take off here. Thank you for coming on,
oh, 100%.
everybody. Make sure you come check us out tonight. It's no financial limits. NFL. We're gonna talk stocks. Ghost and myself, and then we're also gonna talk about the football game tonight. Make some picks. Talk about next week. Just have a lot of fun. That's gonna be at 4 o'clock on the West Coast, 7 o'clock on the East Coast. The link to that is down below, and also the link to Ghost's YouTube channels down below. You wanna take us out for the day? Whatever you want to say to finish off.
Nah, man, I'll see y'all tonight, man. Hopefully, y'all have a good day in the market today, and let's talk about what happened in the market today too, man. Let's find some runners. We've been pretty nasty on finding these runners on some of these, these channels we're on. So come join us tonight, 4 o'clock Pacific Standard. Let's have some fun
All right.
tailgating. All right, Coach. I'll see you in a little bit.
All right.